in a rare interview.
In 1971, Melvin Van Peebles shocked America with Sweet Sweetback's badass song. The young black director was also the star, a stud on the run from some mean white cops. Anger heated up the screen. Some critics hailed Sweetback as the beginning of a new wave of black cinema. There was also fear that the controversial film would spark violence, like this. But this chaos outside theaters in several cities erupted at the premiere of a film by another black director just weeks ago. 20 years after Melvin Van Peebles shook up Hollywood, his son Mario was grabbing headlines with New Jack City.
Money, 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 money.
And Mario was joining a growing group of young blacks being given a chance to make films by the major studios.
It is a war out there.
For all the liberal talk, is Hollywood still basically a racist town?
I would say probably very much so. I can only point to my thing. I've never had a directing offer in my life in Sweetback. Anything I've done, I've had to do myself.
Because you're too hot to handle? Because you're too controversial?
I haven't the slightest idea. I don't really spend my time trying to figure out what's in the white mind. I just go ahead and do what I'm doing.
That's great. Go, yeah, man, you're white, you wouldn't understand. Great, back off, leave me alone. No.
When it comes to green, America's America.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood's not so much black or white, it's green.
We gotta look out for one another.
In spite of the violence which marred its opening, Mario's New Jack City has been generating lots of green. It's already racked up over $30 million in ticket sales.
Am I my brother's keeper? Am I my brother's keeper?
Somebody watches this film and says, okay, you may be proud of your son as a filmmaker, but he finally gets some of that big studio money, and what does he do? He makes a film about blacks and drugs, and he's perpetuating the stereotypes.
No. You see, the perpetuating of the stereotype, at least from my point of view, was the same thing they said about Sweetback. I took a person that the people in the street could relate to. That's a very important thing. You want to keep your audience. You're talking to an audience.
Pop once said to me, figure out what you want to say and then how to hide it. I wanted to make a film here that was interesting. I mean, these kids aren't going to go see a little Just Say No movie or a little nice coffee table environmental movie about Chico Mendez. These kids, on Saturday night, you got your $7 and your lady, you want to go roll with some action.
This is big business. This is the American way.
It's got to move, it's got to have the eye candy, and if in that format you can teach them something and they come away with a little something, then that's kind of exciting.
There's a notion that so-called black films can make money, but they can only make so much. Is that part of what you have to prove, that at every point the box office is even more important to you because you've got to break through?
I think one of the things that I've learned about from my dad was that the golden rule is he who has the gold makes the rule, and I think that's been very interesting. And I'm lucky because 5 years ago I probably wouldn't have gotten an opportunity to direct a feature for studio like I did. And 5 years from now I might not again.
I thought you were going to drop a bomb.
Mario is not only following in the footsteps of his father, he's joining the ranks of other young blacks who entered the door opened by Melvin Van Peebles.
She's Italian.
H-bomb,
From Bensonhurst.
nuclear megaton bomb.
Spike Lee has won critical praise and bigger budgets for doing his own thing in films like his soon-to-be-released Jungle Fever.
Both of you's got jungle fever.
Robert Townsend used credit cards to finance his first movie, the underground hit Hollywood Shuffle. Then he got a real budget for his new film, The Five Heartbeats.
We're definitely on the same cinematic basketball team. If Cosby does well, if Eddie Murphy does well, if Spike does well, that's good for me. If I do well, that's good for Townsend. And then you wind up rooting for each other, and you also wind up sort of being responsible or held responsible for, well, do you feel that the images in this or the images of that? Well, no one would ask David Lynch that. I mean, he could do, you know what I mean?
It
No one
goes
would say,
back to your question.
David Lynch, are you making white people look bad? I mean, he's just a weird white guy with a vision, you know what I mean?
This girl.
Now Mario has teamed up with a black guy with a vision. Melvin directs and Mario stars in Identity Crisis.
You call him Melvin Van Movies. Why?
Oh, because I see him as the godfather of cinema in a way, black cinema. So, hey! Like James Brown's the godfather of soul, he's Melvin Van Movies.
Are you proud of what you fostered?
Oh, very much so. Very, very much so.
You mean in a direct genetic sense or just in a cinematic sense? There?
Oh, I think you're speaking in cinematic sense.
What about the square-head kid that looks like Bart Simpson sitting next to you?
Well, the vote's not in on that, but I love it.
For Current Affair, I'm Jean Wolfe.
New Jack City is now playing in cinemas across the country. Jungle Fever, the new Spike Lee movie, opens in movie theaters in June.